Hey, this is Dr. Corey Glenn. I'm going to do a quick video today. This is on how to make a gingivectomy guide. So, had a customer call me. They were wanting some help with how you would pull this off, and so I just asked them to send me a case, and thought I'd just make a video for everyone real quick. And so, what I'm not going to show in this video is doing the whole wax up and everything. In fact, I didn't look at pictures or anything. I just kind of did a make believe, and I did a wax up. All right, this could have been done in Blue Sky Plan. This could have been done in ExoCAD, in 3Shape, in any number of softwares. But obviously, I hope this goes without saying, if you're doing this, you need to account for smile design, picks, finding the right lengths of teeth, all of that kind of stuff. All right. Again, this is a non-clinical case, so I'm not doing that. But these teeth were short, so I just kind of did a quick and dirty wax up of where I thought the teeth would look good. And as you can see, if I turn the transparency down in Blue Sky Plan, you can definitely see that we do need to raise these gingival levels if we're going to do this. All right, so I can think of at least 5 different ways off the top of my head how you could do a gingivectomy guide or a bone contouring guide. Um, Definitely some of these would be sexier than others, and you could print the whole thing. But I'm not going to show that because I really don't think it's the most efficient, and I really don't think it's the best. Okay, I know others have published that, but listen, when simple works, let's don't make it complicated. All right, so you've done your wax up. If you don't know about that, see some of my other videos on wax ups and smile design. But we're at this point now, and we have a wax up, and we definitely can see where we need to contour the gingiva to. All right. So I'm going to tell you how I would approach this. So first of all, I want to go ahead and get this intraoral scan as a solid model, and so Blue Sky Plan makes that incredibly easy. Right now I'm in Model Master. You can do this in Implant Module, wherever. We could go to Model Manipulation, and let's select that green model, and let's just say create us a hollow model. All right, so essentially all that's done is it's duplicated that model, but it has put a base on it and it's hollowed it out. So that's going to be a pretty cheap model for us to print. All right, now we've got our wax up. So the way I would suggest you approach this is let's just export these together. All right, I'm going to go to File, Export Data, and we could say let's export each of these as separated files. I really don't want to do that. I want to essentially combine these into one. It's not a Boolean union, but it's going to be two overlaying STLs, which will print just fine. Okay, so I'm going to say export, and I've got both my wax up and my teeth, my solid intraoral scan. I'm going to export that. And let's just save this on my desktop. And I'm going to call this wax up to print. All right. All right, so go ahead and launch the software of your printer, whatever you're going to use, and I'm going to use the Shining 3D Cell, the Cell printer, and pick what model resin you want to do. We're just going to do this in straight up model. I would probably do this in a 0.05 layer thickness. So I'm going to go ahead and import that wax up that I just created. It's in my desktop. And I'm going to go ahead and lay this out. So we'll indicate that we want that oriented on the bottom, generate supports, and then we would print it. Now, I'm not going to print this because I don't think it's really necessary, but let's just talk about what I would do with this now. All right. Again, I know you could do all kinds of 3D printed things, and you're going to spend way more time doing that. The simple solution is just print this model right here. All right. And then once that's printed, do a simple suck down on this, preferably something with a pressure form machine. Use like, you know, zero point 0.5 to 0.1 Essex clear type material, right? The same type of thing you might do for making temps inside of it. All right. I'm going to do that suck down on this. And then once I've popped this off the model, this is where the teeth should end up. And so I'm going to just take either a burr, a hot knife, or a scalpel, and I'm going to trim on the facial exactly to the gingival margin of these proposed crowns, right? This is the wax up. So I would trim exactly to the proposed crown right there. Okay. And the benefit to doing that is now I've got something that shows exactly where the gingival margin should end up. All right. So let's pretend here for a second. You take that, you seat it in the patient's mouth, right? And basically the outline of that Essex is now going to follow right there where these wax up crowns end up intersecting with the gingiva, right? So if you pop this on, if you've trimmed it to that spot, it tells you exactly where to take your scalpel, your laser, whatever you're going to use, right? Trim it to exactly the contours of that, right? Because that's where you want your gingival margin to be. Now, sorry, this mouse is going crazy. Now, the other reason why I like this is oftentimes if you are doing a gingival recontouring, you have to think about, is this a purely gingival contouring type case, or is it going to require some osseous recontouring? I don't know the answer to that here because I don't have the patient's CT. I haven't done, gingival pocket probing down the bone. But let's say that the bone is, you know, let's say 3 millimeters apical here. We're removing about 2 millimeters of gingiva. We're impinging into biologic width. And so after I trimmed the gingiva here, I would probably go ahead and lay a small flap and need to do some osseous recontouring, right? I would want that osseous margin, 2.5 to 3 millimeters apical to the ideal gingival margin. Again, coming back to the idea of just using a simple Essex, we've accomplished the same thing, right? We can use the same guide for both because we're still going to see the ideal crown margin on the facial here. And now we just do osseous recontouring to 3 millimeters, let's say, apical to that same margin. So one guide accomplishing both things. It's simple. It doesn't require a lot of effort, and it gets the job done. So that's how I would approach it personally. Again, I know there's fancier ways to do this, but I don't see the point. If simple works, let's do simple. So anyway, hopefully that's helpful.